This is Scott Becker with the Becker Business and Becker Private Equity Podcast. Thrilled today to be joined by a brilliant realtor and entrepreneur. We're joined today by Paula Avenaim. And Paula works both in Florida and in the greater Chicago area and has built this amazing following and great practice. Paula, take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us about your business. And then we'll talk about trends you're watching in real estate. Is there enough inventory? What are you seeing? And a lot more.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm Paula Avenaim. I am with Baird Warner in the Highland Park office. Most of my book of business is in the North Shore, but I also do have quite a bit in Chicago. I've sold and have clients buying in the past and actually coming up soon in like condos in downtown Chicago, single family homes in Lincoln Park. So I do tap into other areas, not so much west, but definitely basically from downtown Chicago all the way up to Lake Gurney or Lake Forest. So that's been exciting. And I've been fortunate enough to work with so many clients and help them in their biggest move of their lives, whether it's moving out or moving in. And yeah, I am watching. I mean, it's really amazing. I actually had a call with quite a few people today about the housing market, just different things with different brokerages and having an event. So we were talking about I was talking to different agents in different brokerages. And my managing broker and I spoke first this morning, and I just confirming, that this has been typically my business is very consistent throughout the year with this low and lull in August. For sure, it's just quiet in August. Kids are going back to school or families are taking their last vacations, college. They're getting their kids set to in college and whatever it is. But August historically has always been a very low month for me. Starts picking back up in September, October, and then, it's quiet again, November, December, January. It's very, very common. It's been like that for a lot of years. Well, this year I had a tremendous first quarter. I mean, wildly busy. And then it just was like quiet. I was just like feeling the pulse with other brokers. And really across the board, I heard, the same thing. Not every broker, but I would say 80% of the brokers were saying that May and June, there was just like nothing. And then July, tiny bit picking up. And August historically has been very quiet. So it's the same pretty much. So the trends that I'm seeing, we start honing in on the trends because we were like, what's going on in the market? We know that whenever there's something going on in the world that could impact the economy or does impact the economy, historically as well, this is buyers and sellers just pause. They hold back. It's the unknown. So the unknown creates fear. And when there's fear, people don't want to have change. They like to just kind of sit tight, stay where they are and see what's coming. So we know with the war going on in Iran and that's caught, with the gas prices going up and other things, other prices driving up has caused this fear. So it is still the trend that has been common for many, many, many years that when that happens, that the housing market pauses. And we've seen some of that. I see so much new construction going on, which is so pleasant for me to see. And I myself am working with a client for a new development in Deerfield that hopefully next year breaking ground. But it's really great to see because new construction was really paused for a long time. And a lot of that had to do with just builders could not pencil out the dollar amount to do new construction. And that usually had to do with impact fees per each district that they have, Deerfield, Highland Park, every district is different. Every municipality is different. But I'm seeing there's been a lot of conversations. I'm involved with GPIC, governmental affairs, and we really pay attention onto what, these town hall meetings are talking about. And a lot of the topics at these town hall meetings involve real estate having the conversations about the impact that impact fees have for builders and for the inventory. And so it's really been a hot topic. And I have to say, I'm really proud of people the builders and the agents and GPEC and other organizations for stepping up and really letting the different municipalities, the mayors know how this is impacting the livelihood and the communities. Because if you don't have housing, housing helps to bring in families, it helps the businesses, it helps the schools, it helps with the taxes. So I have to say, I've been really pleased to see that there's so much construction going on. I feel like the voices have been heard, the need for new construction has been heard. So I think next year we're going to really be in a good, we're going to have a good boom with sales because there is a lot of construction going on. So that's great. Even in the city, in downtown Chicago, I'm seeing a lot of construction. So I'm so happy. So luxury inventory also is growing. Buyers shopping above the $1 million price point have more choices than they did a year ago, and that means sellers need to price strategically. And I think we talked about this last time on our podcast that it really is that sellers have to present their homes exceptionally well if they want to sell at top dollar. Professional photography, staging, I'm gonna say 50% of the time, maybe more, a little bit more, you really need a stage. Videos, strategic marketing, they're just like not an option anymore. You have to have these if you're expected to sell in a luxury market. So and get bidding wars or even just get your price point sale without a lot of contingencies. So I'm seeing, I'm also watching, watching a lot of the trends in the North Shore because I live up here. I pay attention to Chicago too, but I am seeing in the North Shore, it continues to be one of Illinois' strongest luxury markets. Communities like Highland Park, Glencoe, Winnetka, Lake Forest, Deerfield are continuing to attract buyers looking for top schools, larger homes, and exceptional lifestyles. And so that's feeds into this building frenzy that not frenzy, but building a lot of new construction going on, as I mentioned earlier, which again is great to see. And especially people just seem to prefer it's either new construction or move-in ready homes. They're still commanding a premium. So that's continuing. Buyers are negotiating again. And I think we might have talked about this last time on our podcast that buyers are negotiating again, where previously it was, you have multiple offers and buyers there was no contingencies, which is a little scary for the buyers, not for the sellers. But it's unlike the frenzy we saw a few years ago. They're negotiating on the prices. Everybody is having an inspection, even if they waive, inspection with no requests. So, and sellers are giving concessions again. So that's good. It's been.
And let me ask you a question. We just had colleagues whose parents bought a house in Glencoe, like a ranch house. I think they said that the house they bought had 15 to 17 offers on it. Are you still seeing some of that, or is that less the rule now? Or because we were, as you mentioned, we were sort of upside down on not enough inventory to sell, and so a lot of attractive houses or semi-attractive houses were getting a lot of competitive bidding. What are you seeing currently?
I am seeing the multiple offers on homes that are either new construction or they could be homes or townhomes or condos, but especially the homes, the single family homes. I am seeing multiple offers, and that's true. And I myself, I had a buyer. There was a house in Highland Park, and there were multiple offers, and that's a whole nother great topic and how to strategize with your buyers. We actually got the listing. They accepted our offer over, I think there were probably 6 other offers. And it took me, I had to really educate my buyers on how to do that and how to win this offer. And it worked. And that would be a whole nother podcast to talk about because there is definitely a strategy. And I love helping my buyers to win offers, to win, it's the property that they want. So there is a great way to strategize in how you present your offer.
Thank you. As you look at the end of this year, the start of next year, what are you most focused on and excited about? And are you spending a lot of time in the Florida real estate market too? And if so, what do you see there?
So I'm seeing right now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm seeing a lot of new construction. So that tells me, buyers can definitely and sell and the listing agents can definitely do pre-sale contracts or pre-sale. And I'm sure that will go far. But once they actually get a one home built to show, I'm sure the new construction will go under, all of the homes will go under contract pretty quickly because we are still in this shortage of inventory. So I'm seeing in 2027 this uptick. I think we are going to be very busy in 2027, especially because there are a lot of new developments going up. So I'm seeing that. And then the trends I'm watching in Florida's market are, luxury is outperforming any entry level market. Buyers purchasing $1 million homes unless, depend on the mortgage rates. And so demand has remained stronger in the lower price points, but luxury is still, it's stabilized.
In the luxury home market, are people paying more cash than mortgages, or what do you see there?
That's a great question. And it is cash is king in Florida. High net worth buyers continue to make all cash offers, giving them a significant advantage in a competitive situation. With cash, you're waiving some costs that are required by the lender. You're waiving the need for an appraisal by a lender, which if it doesn't appraise out because they're offering over list price, which will probably be over appraised price or appraisal value, then cash is king because you don't have to worry about that. Because if you have a lender, it's not going to appraise out, and then you're going to have an issue getting the mortgage. So I have to say in Florida, cash is king for sure. I mean, I had a sale last year in Florida, and it was a $4.7 million listing, and they were cash buyers. It was just wild. I was like, wow, they actually were from Chicago. So, and they bought in Florida. So it is cash is king there. Inventory is improving, but only selectively. In Florida, insurance costs are influencing buyers' decisions in Florida, and that's gonna, it's happened here a little bit as well with the HOAs have been challenging, and you really have to be educated and understand what you're getting into when you purchase any property that has an HOA. In Florida, still waterfront and lifestyle properties remain highly desirable. That's what people, it's the walkability people are looking for, or boating access.
And Paula, let me ask you this question: What about in Florida? I know there's this whole the club communities where there's golf and tennis remain very hot, but some of them end up going south, and we've seen that over the periods of time. What do people think about the club communities with the HOAs, the golf course, the cost of the clubs, et cetera? And now there's these rising initiation fees in these clubs too. Will that at some point have a negative impact on some of the values, the home values in these club communities in Florida?
Yeah, they are having an impact, and especially with this crisis that happened, where the building collapsed in Miami, and then there was a complete mandatory reassessment. It happened throughout the whole country, actually, but in Florida, it was really they started doing this reassessment early on, and every single property that had an HOA had to have some improvement, which meant that there was a special assessment cost, passed down to the homeowners. And so, what some of them were small costs passed down, but a lot of them were large. We're talking like, $15,000 per homeowner of costs that they were special assessed on, and which is wild. But there's, you either got to move and then tack that onto your sale price, or pay it and stay and hope it doesn't happen again. So I am seeing people move away from these club communities because of these fees that are really, really high to be a part of the club, where some people they don't golf or they don't play tennis, right? And they don't really care about those amenities. And so to pay an extra, you have to pay like $30,000 to be in the club because it's mandatory to be part of the club. And then it's $1,000 a month. People just are like really moving away from that. And I'm seeing the developments that are happening are more single family homes with no HOAs, or maybe it's two homes together or like side by side, or three. And there's a small HOA, very, very small, but it's close to the water. It's walking distance. People are really more focused now than ever on walkability. They want to be close to a downtown, or even if it's a strip mall, somewhere that they can walk, or especially the ocean or the intercoastal. if they're going to Florida, they really want to have that walkability and that summer living life. So I'm seeing that switch for sure. And even me personally, when we look at properties in Florida ourselves to purchase and flip, I am no longer looking at properties that have an HOA. I won't do it. It's too risky. If we want to keep it and rent it, I'm not going to do it where there's an HOA because those prices, we have to change according to what the guidelines happen or what we get hit with this by the city. I am seeing still in terms of club amenities and again, people can buy a home, single family home, and there's probably 25 golf courses, whether they're public or private, anywhere between Palm Beach and Miami, maybe even more. So on every block, not every block, every mile, there's one.
Yeah.
They're public. So you can go for, $50, $100 and play at your leisure without the commitment of $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month. And then to join somewhere like the Boca, it's $110,000 to join, and then you have your monthly. So some people are moving away. They don't mind that, but they don't want to be in the committed communities, the golf and tennis communities. Again, like I said, some people don't even play tennis. Some people don't play golf.
Take a moment on when you look at this next year, what are you most excited about heading into 2027?
As I mentioned earlier, I'm seeing a lot of new construction. And for me, that is just awesome. We really need it. We need it, especially here in Illinois. We have such a shortage of inventory that to see that means that our voices were heard as realtors representing our clients, our buyers, mostly that, they can't buy anything and their sellers can't sell because then they can't buy anything and move some or there's a shortage of inventory or that means that the prices are crazy and there's multiple offers and some buyers just have not been able to succeed. So I'm very thrilled to say that I feel, and based on what the trends I'm watching, is that 2027 is going to be a very busy market. We are going to have a lot of sales. Properties are going to probably sell very quickly. People have been waiting and people really do. This has been over the last many years, 3 to 5 years, that people will pay top premium dollar for new construction. They love it. And they get, they get to choose, if it's early enough in this process, they get to choose, what kind of concessions they want, what they want for cabinets and what they want for flooring, and that matters. So I'm very excited for 2027. 2026 has been a little rough, so I'm happy to end 2026, in 5 months and move on to 2027 because it's gonna be good. I know it for sure, and so I'm excited.
No, fantastic. Well, it's always a breath of fresh air to visit with you. It always makes my day. I want to thank you for joining us on the Becker Business and Becker Private Equity podcast. You're literally just fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you. You're terrific. Thank you.